Hello and welcome back. So in the last video you will have seen me talk through my plans for autumn and what I want to crochet and what I want to knit, and one of the things that I actually wanted to finish is the second spring song cardigan. So I'm actually wearing the first one and this is the second one that I started on, and it's in a really nice like off-white creamish colour. And it's basically for my sister-in-law. So she absolutely loved this first one that I made and she wanted to have one. So I offered to make it for her birthday, but she's actually going to a wedding at the end of September in Barcelona. And I figured it would be the perfect cardigan to take with her in case it's a little bit mild and she just needs something to put over her shoulders. But the reason why I'm also just making another video that is about this cardigan is because, as the people that have been watching me from the start, I made this spring song cardigan in the first two videos that I've ever posted on YouTube, and I didn't really go very in depth about the process or the pattern itself because the type of videos that I did at the start were maybe a little bit more vloggy or like a day in the life kind of thing, while now there's a bit more of a focus on craft related videos. So, but yeah, anyway, I figured I would have a little chat about the pattern itself because when I initially bought it and I was looking it over, I got a little bit overwhelmed because I needed to do maths to actually figure out how many times I need to like repeat this specific square. And I'm not very good with maths, so I was just like, oh God, I don't know if this is going to go well, but I just went with it and I didn't find it as intimidating when I just got started with doing the calculations bit by bit. So these are my old notes and they're a little bit ruined, but I can still read them. So basically, the first thing that you will do when you start this pattern is actually measure the width of the cardigan that you would want, the height, and then also the length of your sleeve and how wide you want them to be. And then going from those measurements, you will basically end up with like your A measurement, your B measurement, your C measurement, and your D measurement. Then the next thing that you will do is make this little test square. And here we're going to take two measurements. So one of them is basically the overall width of this test square. And then the second one is the width from here till here, which is just called the diamond section. And then basically what we do is we do measurement 1 times an odd number. So it could be 3 or it could be 5. And then we do that plus 2. And this calculation is trying basically to get as close to measurement A as possible. So in my case, I ended up doing 20 times 5 plus 13. And this is how I end up with 113 stitches that I had to cast on. And then I basically just repeat this pattern piece over and over again. And this is how you end up with the back panel. And the front panel works very similar, where you use the measurements that you've taken and the numbers of the measurement of your test square to come out with the number that you need to cast on. So in my case, I need to cast on 53 stitches for the front panel. But yeah, overall, it's a super easy pattern. And it's actually very nicely written. There's a lot of pictures to show you how to do certain things. And also, I reached out to the lady, I believe, at one point, and she was super quick with replying, even though that she was on holiday. But yeah, I 100% would recommend this pattern. But on a side note, it is a bank holiday this weekend and I've got a couple of plans that I need to do. So today, actually, we're also going to a fantasy fair in town. So we've got like a music festival and a fantasy fair. It's quite small because it's a smaller town, but I figured we would just go later this afternoon. And after that, I'm actually taking Freya to hydrotherapy. So we do hydro with her as a preventative thing because Dachshunds are very prone to having back issues, so we take her to physio and hydrotherapy every once in a while. We don't do this like super regular because she doesn't really need it, but it's been really good to just like strengthen her back and strengthen her back legs and stuff. So I can 100% recommend doing it as a preventative measure for like back problems and stuff if you do have a sausage dog. And yeah, I will show you guys some videos of her swimming because she looks miserable, but it's kind of cute. So anyway, let's get started with some crochet. Hello. So I had quite a busy day yesterday. I finished the back panel, and after that we went to the fantasy fair. And even though that like I knew it was going to be small, it was still a lot smaller than I was expecting, and it was very busy. I think part of it was that there was also the music festival going on, and it was very warm, so everyone is out because it's a coastal town. But it was nice because we actually bumped into some people that we worked with in the past, and we just had a little like catch up just to see like how everyone was doing, and yeah, it was nice. And then afterwards we took Freya to hydrotherapy, and it was actually very sweet, well, bittersweet, because it could potentially be one of the last ones that we have with her, at least here, because obviously with us potentially moving to Scotland, if everything goes well with the paperwork, it just means that I have to find a new place to, take her to for at least hydro, because that's a little bit more regular than physio. I do think that we're probably going to stay with the physiotherapist just because I have like an appointment with her like every 6 months, and I still kind of want to come back down here every once in a while because the knitting group that I'm a part of here locally, I'm quite close with them. And yeah, I don't really want to be a stranger just because I am moving north. So yeah, I still plan to come down here every once in a while. So I think I'll just stay with the physiotherapist, but I might have to look for someone that can do hydrotherapy with her every 8 weeks, I think, is what we do with her. And yeah, I think we've been doing it since she was 8 months old. And it's been actually really impressive to see how it has improved, especially her back legs, because one of her legs when she was younger, I mean, it was fine. It was just not as like muscled as the other one. So you could tell that she definitely had a preference. And with a lot of the exercises that we do and the swimming and stuff, we've seen a really big improvement. And now both of her back legs measure the same when we use a measuring tape, which has been really good. So yeah, I can definitely recommend doing it, even if you just want to exercise your dog. They don't have to have like arthritis or like need to be recovering from a surgery for you to do this sort of stuff. But anyway, on a side note, I am starting with the front panel right now, and I need to do 53 foundation crochets. And you can see that this type of, is it a cast on for crochet? This way of starting a project has like it's a bigger like border than just doing chains. And I don't think I've actually used this method for any other crochet project I've ever done. So it is interesting, but it's quite easy. I'll pop a link in the description of like a tutorial that I used when I started with my first pink cardigan to show me how to do it. But it's actually super, super simple. So you're not going to have any issues with this if you've never done this method before. And it also comes up with like a really nice and clean edge. So yeah, anyway, I am going to continue with this cast on. I think I have to do 42 more and then I can start on the diamond and square pattern. So yeah, let's see how much we can get done today. Quick check-in. It's now a couple of days later and I have finished the bottom section of one of the front panels and I have started on the decreasing rows as well. So I've done 3 rows that are just the normal, and then from the 4th row onwards I've actually started to decrease a little bit, so that's where you now see this like little slope. And I think I have to do 3 or 4 rows, I think 3 more rows, and then that's the front panel done. But I'm actually going to go to my knitting club tonight, so I've just had my food and I'm just gonna pack my stuff up and then we can go to my knitting social.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't
hold that
And then
well, not because my friend was I'm not that daft. You might think I'm daft, but I'm not.
I know that.
Hey guys, so I have finished the right front panel. So I've got it the other way around. There we go. So this is the right panel. So I've got my nice slope done, and then I've also made a good amount of progress on the left panel. So there we go. This is the right way. So I've got my slope on this end here. I have to do basically 2 more like patterned rows, and then that's this left panel done. And then what I have to do is basically sew these 2 panels together to the back, and then from there I will start building out the sleeves. But today I'm actually quite busy, so I don't know how much crocheting I will actually get done. But I have to go back to my local knitting shop because the owner, she's got a big sale on today with like a lot of wools that have been like discontinued and stuff. So I want to go and check it out in case she has any like sock wool that I could use for my upcoming sock things, just because I'm trying not to spend too much money because we're trying to get the mortgage and all that sort of stuff sorted. So there's a lot of fees that we're having to pay at the moment. So I'm trying to be a little bit mindful of how much money I'm spending. So I figured this sale is the perfect opportunity to see if she has anything that I kind of need on a bit of a discount. And then there's also the kite festival going on actually in the St Anne's, and some friends that I haven't seen in a while are actually in town today. So I might see them after I've gone to the wool shop. So yeah, there's lots of things to be getting on with, but I'm just going to finish my coffee and then we'll get going.
Feel the warmth of the summer. I get lost in the colors, golden hours in your eyes. There's a world to discover. All of me's full of wonder in your light. I'm paralyzed. Can we stay forever and ever? This must be love. This must be.
All right, quick check-in now that I have woken up from my nap. So the kite festival was really good. It was nice to finally see it because I've known about it for like the 3 years that we've lived here. And I am happy that we went before we left because it is really nice to see. It was just very busy. And it was also incredibly windy. So once I got home, I had to change my clothes because I got absolutely drenched on the way back to the car because it absolutely started hammering it down with rain. And then once I got in, I don't know if anyone else has this where if it's like really windy outside, once I get back inside, I just feel so tired and like worn out. So I was sat here and then I started to doze off. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just have a quick nap. And now I've had my food, so I'm ready to finish my little crochet fern panel. So let's see how far we're gonna get. Ali brought me a glass of wine as well, which is really sweet. And I've set up my projector because I started watching One Piece again because I've completely caught up with the anime and the manga. So I figured I needed a little bit of comfort and something just fun and easy to watch. So back to the start it is. So yeah, let's see if I can finish this tonight because it would be great if I could start on the sleeves tomorrow. So let's get going. Okay, so I haven't checked in with you guys for a couple of days, and that's mainly because I've been trying to figure out some changes for the sleeves for this cardigan that I'm making. So the first cardigan I made the sleeves quite long and they were very wide as well. I think the sleeves end till about here. And even though that's really lovely, it just makes it really impractical in terms of wearing a jacket over it, but also just keeping the sleeves clean because they're that long and that wide that they just end up falling in stuff. So I wanted to do some changes so that that wasn't the case. So this time round, what I've done is I didn't cast on as many going outward from the middle. And now the sleeves they're still like wide, but they're not this impractical basically. And I have changed the length just a little bit so that it more ends right here instead of half over my hand. And then another thing that I fixed compared to my last one, and that's to be fair, on me, that's my mistake. But in the first cardigan I did, I cast on the stitches for the sleeves with the cardigan facing the right way out. So I shouldn't have done that, because then the little detail that you have on the right side of your panel, which is like this little bit here, that was facing the inside for the sleeves because I cast it on the wrong way. So this time round, I actually remembered that when I cast on the sleeves, I'm meant to actually have the cardigan turned inside out and then cast the sleeves on. I hope that kind of makes sense. It's getting a little bit late. But my plan for tonight is cast on the second sleeve and hopefully do a couple of rows that I can at least finish the cardigan tomorrow, because I want to try and get this video out for you guys this week. But it's been a bit of a project. Anyway, let's see how much we can get done tonight. So it's now the next day and I finished the sleeves, so now I just have to do the edging and then also the little tie in the front. I have finished the cardigan and I'm so happy with the result. Honestly, I think like I prefer this version way more than the first one I made, and I think it's due to like a lot of things. I think part of it obviously is the sleeves that I kind of discussed earlier, where my version is just the sleeves are a little bit too long and a little bit too wide. So it just made it a little bit impractical, especially because of like the lighter color. So these sleeves on this version, they were always getting dirty. And even though that like the sleeves are still a little bit wide, they're definitely not as wide as this version. And other than that, I think also the material choice was just a little bit better, because I ended up doing an acrylic yarn for this one just because it was on sale at my local shop, and I figured, you know what, I'll just get this instead and use it for the cardigan so that I can just chuck it in the wash. And for this one, I ended up actually just spending a little bit more money because it is a gift. So I ended up getting a superwash merino. So it's incredibly soft, and hopefully she will still be able to be a little bit more rough in terms of taking care of it. I guess we'll see, but I still have to block this cardigan as well. So that's like the one thing that I need to do off camera kind of thing, because you guys have seen me do like blocking before. So I just use like a yoga mat and then I just like literally pin things in place with sewing pins, and that works perfectly fine for me. So that's the one thing I still need to take care of. But honestly, I can't wait until I can give it to my sister-in-law, because I think she will be so happy with how it turned out. Because I've been keeping her updated with the progress of the cardigan, because sometimes I would just send her like a little picture and just ask like, are you happy with the length? Do you want me to make it longer? Do you want me to make it shorter? And also for edging, like kind of what did she prefer? So for the sleeves, I ended up doing just a scalloped edge, but I actually ended up doing the same scalloped edge on the end of the cardigan, because on my first version I had a slightly different effect. Like it looks like it's a scalloped edge, which it kind of is, but I have it with 4 chains I think, and then I just skipped a couple of stitches, and that gives like this sort of like lacy effect, which like it looks nice, but I figured I would just ask my sister-in-law and see what she prefers, and she seemed to prefer this one, so that's what we ended up doing. And yeah, super happy with the result, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, I've also put a poll up asking people what they prefer in terms of days for me to upload, because I sort of mentioned that for me, Mondays were getting a little bit tight just because I get most of my things done on the weekend, because obviously I have 2 full days where I can do like knitting or crocheting, and then I don't have a lot of time left to actually do editing to be able to post on Monday. So yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to shift my upload day to just a different day. And so far it seems that people preferred Wednesday. So I think for now, I'm just going to post on Wednesday, and I can always change it in the future if more votes come in. But yeah, for now, it's going to be Wednesday. And yeah, hopefully you had a good time watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!